All right, guys, welcome back. Here we are, the third installment of Workshop Wednesdays. Today we're going to talk about actually some fretboard navigation, right? What we're going to start doing here is we're going to start practicing and learning where every particular note appears on the fretboard. There's a couple of easy ways to do this. We're going to start with the easiest one. Then what you end up using is using that note as a reference point, and you're basically going to get the note before it and the note after it based on its scale position, right? So seeing that this is mainly a tool channel, we're going to have this guitar. This guitar is basically tuned drop D, which means that the first string is a D, the second string is tuned to A, then D, then G, then B, then E. So the guitar is tuned just like every other guitar, for the only exception that the top string is tuned down to D. Now that actually makes this a little bit easier, because what ends up happening is you end up with two D strings. Now every note appears on the fretboard on one particular string only twice, 12 frets apart. So here, we'll just start with the first string. So the first string is an open D. Then that D note appears again here at the 12th fret, because the 12th fret on every guitar is an exact copy of the nut, except at the next octave, right? So you have D, then you have D, then you have D here, because remember, we use the 5th fret on the A string to tune the string under it, right? So if you have the A here, that's the 5th fret, plus 12 is the 17th fret. So there you go. So you got, now we got two strings, D, D, D. Now here's the part that made it easier. Since the first string is tuned exactly like the 4th string, well then the 4th string is D, and that's the D again. The next string, the 7th fret, is the D, which 7 plus 12 is 19, right? Then the next string, the D is on the 3rd fret, right? Plus 12 is the 15th. Then the next string, the D is on the 10th fret, plus 12 is 22, right? So right there, we've already mapped out the D note. Every position that's available on the fretboard for the D note is exactly where I just explained it to you. I'm going to go ahead and put the little chart up here. Remember, I'm not the tab guy, I'm the note guy. So here's where all the D notes appear. So what you want to do then is you want to get familiar with where the D notes are. Once you've established that, I'm going to walk you through a little exercise here of how to get used to finding the note that you're looking for, right? We're going to use a drone track like we did before. But I'm going to go ahead and walk you to the next part, because then once you've established that this is D, well then C is one whole step under it, and E is one whole step above it, right? That happens at every instance on the fretboard. So here we go, D, C, E, 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 right? D, C, E, D, C, E. There's no E above that because it's a 22 fret guitar. But that's the idea. The idea is once you've mastered where all the D notes are, well, then you've kind of done three things at the same time. You've now found where all the C's and where all the E's are. The idea now is to get your ear tuned into finding that along with your hands. So what I use for practice, I literally use this. I use this drone track like I came up in one of the modes classes. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on now so you can actually see it come into play. So that is a D minor drone, right? That is a D minor note. That is D, A, D, and F. That's why it sounds so good over that. Now, what that also does is it also, sorry, air conditioner turned on. So what that also does is it also gives you a little bit of room to explore with relative notes and relative chord tones that are happening over that. You can get into playing around with that later, but right now what we're going to use is we're going to use this D drone to find all the D notes on the guitar. The best way that I found to do it is to slide into the note. Don't try to just magically land on the note. That'll come with time. You know, you'll be able to just look at the guitar and you know where all the Ds are just because you're going to be doing it for so long. But in the beginning, what I suggest you do is you slide into the note. It gives your ear and your hand a coordination to say, okay, let's keep going. There's the note. Okay, so. And you can slide down too. Now, that also gives you a little bit of room to explore different licks and stuff that you might want to try, right? Like little sliding licks. Right, you can do stuff like that. You want to land, you want to resolve, right, on the D note that you're looking for. Right? So use this exercise, man. Go ahead and download. You can, well, you don't need to download it. You can just play it right off the YouTube track that I'm going to put here in the description. It's the same one I used from before. But go ahead and do that. Put yourself a track playing in the background and then slide into the note that you're looking for. When you do this, again, this is about workshopping, right? This is about dedicating a little bit of your practice time to doing these specific little exercises, right? So dedicate 5 or 10 minutes to just finding all the D notes on the fretboard. I've done this all the time without the drone track too. I used to just literally sit down, hit a D note, let it ring out, and then just go. Right? And I just keep doing that. Then I do it above the 12th fret, which is the same exact thing, except it's just happening on a smaller scale, right? Because you got this. Right? So you're doing the same exact thing. You're just doing a 12 plus 12. So once you do that, now you know where the C's are. Now you know where the D's are. All right, now let's get to this next little part where we got the chords running here. So we know that in this D minor chord, and if you don't know, well, I'm about to tell you here. Here we go. The D minor chord that is made up of these notes: D, A, D, and F. Okay? It's D minor because the third is flattened. If it were D major, you'd have the F sharp. So that means then that I could also play the A's and the F's over this tone. And I could use that for the same exercise. See, this is G. You can tell it's not landing, it's not resolving right? See how nice that sounds over that chord? That's because it's one of the chord tones that are used to make up the chord that you're hearing in the background, right? That's another good exercise to do. Maybe I'll do that. I'll do a chord tone exercise where we'll throw a drone and then you just play like... using all the notes that are in that tone, and that's why that ends up sounding good. So that little exercise of putting the drone tines in the back gives you a lot of room to explore and to try different things. So there we go, man. Let's wrap it up. Workshop Wednesday. Today we're doing all the D notes. D, 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 D. Oh, that was actually E. But see how you could hear it because it was playing in the background? All right, so dedicate a couple of minutes to yourself, man, during your practice sessions. Remember, this is about having fun. This is about learning. This isn't about comparing. This isn't about beating yourself up, about not progressing enough. This is just about continuing to try and just keep getting into this, man. This is the way you end up falling in love with this instrument and the music that it creates, man. So I hope you learned something here today. If you did, please subscribe and like and leave me a comment. And remember, man, keep practicing and please keep coming back. Thank you.